There's a reason why everything in the NFL, everything from playoff dreams to job security to the fragile pride of billion-dollar franchises, revolves around one position and one position only: quarterback. And when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, that truth becomes even louder, even more exaggerated, even more emotionally charged. This isn't just about football. It's about expectations, legacy, and pressure that could crack concrete. Because in Dallas, you don't just play quarterback. You carry the weight of a brand, of a fan base that spans generations, of media storms that don't just question your arm strength, they question your soul. And that brings us to one man, Dak Prescott. Every year we talk about Dak, whether it's praise or hate or somewhere in the eye of the media hurricane, and as we look toward the 2025 NFL season, the conversation around Prescott has never felt more urgent, more defining, more nuclear. Now, before you even ask, yes, I've been covering the Cowboys roster piece by piece, and this is part 5 of that deep dive breakdown. And today, we zero in on the quarterback room, the pressure cooker that is Dak's reality, the backup plan Dallas just might be secretly grooming, and the potential for the Cowboys to either redeem themselves or implode in spectacular fashion. So let's wind it back a little. In 2020, Dak went down early, and the season collapsed like a house of cards. In 2021, he returned strong, and the Cowboys looked alive again. In 2022, same thing. Good Dak meant good Cowboys. Then came 2024, a season that started with so much hope and ended with a smoldering pile of what-ifs. Dak wasn't right. The team wasn't right. Injuries struck, mistakes piled up, and by the end, the franchise found itself asking questions they weren't ready to answer. And that's where 2025 becomes so fascinating, because it's not just about recovery, it's about reckoning. Right now, heading into training camp, the depth chart is pretty much locked in. Dak is QB1, Joe Milton III is QB2, and Will Grier is QB3. But beneath that surface lies so much tension, uncertainty, and possibility that it could define the Cowboys' next 5 years. Let's start with Prescott. Believe it or not, this is his 10th year. 10th. It feels like just yesterday he was a 4th-round pick out of Mississippi State, filling in for Romo and suddenly becoming the guy. Now he's the $240 million man, the highest-paid player in NFL history at $60 million per year, with a no-trade clause and a massive chunk of guaranteed money that makes moving on nearly impossible unless things go catastrophically wrong. He's been a Pro Bowler. He's been All-Pro, and in 2023 he was, in my humble opinion, robbed of the MVP. But here's where it gets complicated. Dak is polarizing. Talking about him is like talking politics. You either believe in him like he's the chosen one, or you think he's the reason the Cowboys can't get over the hump. And maybe that's just what comes with wearing the star. But here's the truth. When he plays, Dallas is competitive. Full stop. That's a fact, not an opinion. In every season where he's played the majority of the snaps, the Cowboys have never finished below 500. He's been reliable, consistent, and he runs the offense efficiently when healthy. So here's the million-dollar question, or should I say the $240 million question: what happens if Dak doesn't take the leap in 2025? Because this isn't just another year. This is the year. Dallas actually gave him support this time around, something we begged them to do last offseason. They hired Brian Schottenheimer, a coach Dak respects. They brought in Clayton Adams and Connor Riley to rejuvenate the ground game. They traded for George Pickens, giving him a legitimate WR2. They drafted Jaden Blue to inject speed and versatility into the offense. They drafted a new interior lineman to protect Dak and replace Zach Martin. It's not a complete overhaul, but it's enough that we should see a better version of Prescott, one with fewer excuses and more production. This is a year where the Cowboys are telling us, this is it. This is the quarterback we're all in on. No turning back. But here's what keeps me up at night. If Dak underperforms, they can't just move on. That contract is a vault. The Joneses made their bed, and now they have to lie in it. So no, I don't buy into the narrative that 2025 is a make-or-break year for Dak like Fox Sports wants to claim. That's lazy analysis. You don't sign a guy to a massive deal, fully guaranteed, then call the next year do or die. But what it is a pivot year. A tone setter. A season that will define the next 3 to 5 years of this franchise. If Dak balls out, great. The Cowboys are contenders. If he struggles, then things get awkward. Real awkward. Because the reality is, Dallas isn't just thinking about 2025. They're thinking long term, and that's where Joe Milton III comes in. And if you're not paying attention to this kid, start now, because Dallas didn't trade a fifth-round pick to the Patriots for Milton just for depth. This wasn't about plugging a hole. This was strategic. Milton is a physical freak, 6'5", 240 lbs, with a rocket arm that makes scouts' jaws drop. The knock on him has always been inconsistency, accuracy issues, decision-making, basic fundamentals. But the ceiling, it's sky high. And while he only has one NFL game under his belt, it was impressive. 22 for 29, 241 passing yards, a touchdown, 16 rushing yards, and another score on the ground. Yes, it was against the Bills' backups. Yes, it was Week 18, but he played like he belonged. And when you're talking about a backup quarterback, especially in Dallas where the microscope is nuclear-powered, that kind of performance opens eyes. Now let's be real. Milton isn't just here for fun. The Cowboys could have easily kept Cooper Rush around, Mr. Safe and Steady. But they chose not to. They let him walk to Baltimore. Why? Because they were tired of Safe, tired of the vanilla, tired of knowing exactly what they were getting, which was 500 football at best. So they went with Milton. Why? Because of what could be. Because of the unknown. Because of the upside. The move was deliberate. Milton isn't here to babysit the offense in case of injury. He's here to push the offense. He's here because if Dak does go down again, knock on wood, Milton gives them a chance to either A, uncover a potential star, or B, tank in spectacular fashion and land a top 5 pick. It's a win-win. That's the strategy. That's the genius. High risk, high reward. And honestly, I respect it. Let me paint you a picture. Dak goes down in Week 8. The Cowboys are 4-4. Milton steps in. Maybe he catches fire. He's throwing bombs to CeeDee Lamb and Pickens. He's stiff-arming linebackers. The stadium is electric. And suddenly, we're cooking. Or maybe it's a disaster. Maybe he looks like a 6th-round pick. Throws picks, misses open guys, can't run the offense. Either way, Dallas wins. Either you have a star in the making or you tank, reset, and go get a top QB in 2026. That's the game. That's the modern NFL. You either compete or rebuild. There is no middle anymore. And Joe Milton is the Cowboys' wild card. Which brings us to Will Grier. I don't want to disrespect the guy, but let's be honest. He's QB3. He's a journeyman. He's there for depth and experience. He's played in 2 career games. He's thrown 4 picks, 0 touchdowns. He's a break glass in case of emergency guy. I don't see him pushing Milton unless Milton implodes. But the point here is that Dallas has gone from let's survive without Dak